Hi there, welcome to my views on new serious allegations against Tigray interim President Getachew Reda from a Tigray journalist. The journalist was a very vocal supporter of Getachew Reda when Getachew came to power, but the man now is critical of Getachew Reda. The allegations against Getachew Reda are about the alleged involvement of TDF members in Sudanese civil war. Secondly, uh, Mike Hammer, US Special Envoy to the Horn of Africa, is visiting three countries: Ethiopia, Kenya, Djibouti. What is the agenda of his visit, especially about Ethiopia? And thirdly, Somalia is requesting the termination of UN mission for Somalia, which was appointed around a decade ago. It seems that Somalia wants the end to UN mission, Africa UN mission as well, peacekeeping mission. What will happen after the termination of these peacekeeping and political missions in Somalia? Firstly, viewers, we saw that a statement came a few days ago from the Rapid Support Forces, RSF. Rapid Support Forces formally accused TPLF. RSF said that Tigray TPLF fighters were involved in Sudanese war in support of Sudanese military against the RSF. Since April last year, Rapid Support Forces, led by Hamdan Dagalo, have been fighting the Sudanese military, Sudanese armed forces, SAF, led by Al Burhan, the chief of military, the chief of Sudan Sovereignty Council, he's head of Sudanese government. TPLF remained silent, but Tigray interim government issued a statement. Though TPLF and interim government Tigray almost the same, you can say two sides of the same coin, or TPLF and Tigray interim government. Tigray interim government rejected the statement from RSF saying that it had nothing to do with Sudanese civil war. It wanted dialogue between the parties, and RSF wanted to internationalize the issue to gain support from international community, and that Tigray fighters were not involved in any way in Sudanese civil war. Then, a few hours ago, a Tigray journalist made some claims. The man has been very critical of Getachew Reda, Tigray interim president, lately. So when Getachew came to power as interim president, this man was very supportive of Getachew Reda. His name is David Kabbede, a journalist from Tigray. In the 2-year-long war, the man supported TDF, TPLF. But after the war ended, we saw that Tigray journalists came under repression. Human rights organizations were not allowed to work freely in Tigray. Opposition parties came under crackdown as well. So the hopes that there will be start of new era in Tigray, era of democracy, reconciliation, inclusive decision making. The dreams of these things did not materialize. David Kabbede claims that Getachew Reda, Tigray interim president, visited Dubai, the UAE, secretly. A few months ago, suddenly Getachew Reda disappeared, and it was said that maybe he was in the US for some medical treatment. Others said he was in Europe. Most people said that he was in Europe, and he was there on some to receive medical support. We could not confirm, but we learned about his visit of Europe those days. maybe on a private visit. David Kabede claims that he visited Dubai too. So he went through Dubai to Europe, maybe. And in the UAE, he met with UAE government officials and RSF representatives too. RSF is backed by the UAE, everyone knows that. David claims that Getachew told the Rapid Support Forces, the representatives, that Tigray fighters were fighting in support of Sudanese military. That is why it was difficult for the military it was difficult for RSF to defeat the Sudanese military. And then he held meetings with UAE's government officials too. And he told UAE government officials that RSF's position was weak. Sudanese military was getting stronger. It had support of Tigray fighters too. This is what David Kabede claims. Obviously, the other side has right to respond. Getachew Reda will respond. Maybe someone on his behalf will respond. Uh, could it be an issue of animosity between David Kabede and Getachew Reda, that David Kabede is accusing Getachew Reda because he wants to discredit him, that it's part of a smear campaign against Getachew Reda? I think it's more than that. It's more than that. David Kabede indirectly confirmed, to the extent of his knowledge, that Tigray fighters are involved in the fight in support of military in Sudanese civil war. His message is a confirmation that, according to some Tigray journalists, Sudanese military has support of Tigray fighters who are based in Sudan. Let's see. David is one of important journalists from Tigray. Let's wait for more evidence. Let's wait for what the Tigray interim government has serious allegations from the journalists against Tigray interim president. Second, viewers, Mike Hammer, U.S. Special Envoy to the Horn of Africa, visiting three countries: Ethiopia, Djibouti, Kenya. What will he discuss in Ethiopia? What is the agenda of his visit? Pretoria, as usual, though I think main agenda is not about Pretoria. Pretoria first, secondly, respect for human rights, inquiry into human rights abuses, and dialogue. Dialogue to resolve conflicts in Amhara and Oromia. He'll press for resumption of talks between Ola and government, which is not very likely, by the way, keeping in view Batur Gasa's death and rising of tension between Ola and government. Talks in Amhara, again, not likely in coming days, weeks, or months. I think he's pressed for impartial investigation into the death of Batur Gasa, because just yesterday we heard from U.S. Embassy in Addis Ababa saying there shouldn't be any obstacles to the investigation into the murder of Batur Gasa. U.S. Embassy spoke after Ethiopian Human Rights Commission complained that it had been forced to halt its inquiry into the murder of Batur Gasa because of harassment of its investigators by security forces in the Oromia region. I think that he'll raise the issue of Batur Gasa's murder. US should keep pressure upon Ethiopian government for impartial investigation into Batur Gasa's murder, which is not very likely, by the way. If government is involved in Batur Gasa's murder, government will never allow the investigation to reveal the identity of real killers. Let's see. Public incoming videos about the visit of Mike Hammer. Thirdly, yours UN mission in Somalia. In 2013, through a UN Security Council resolution, I think a UN political mission was appointed in Somalia to help Somalia's government in the areas of peace, stability, and security. UN mission and African Union mission have been working in collaboration. Somalia now wants the UN mission to leave. The mandate of the mission will expire in October this year. Somalia has written a letter to the UN. It wants termination of the mandate of the commission by October. Means Somalia made it clear today that it does not want any extension in the mandate of UN mission. Lately, we saw some friction between Somalia's government officials and UN mission chief Katrina Lang, who had to depart prematurely. This week, we heard that Katrina had been transferred from Somalia prematurely. Her term did not expire, but she had to leave. Term will expire, obviously, in I think with the expiry of the mission mandate in October. Somalia does not want UN mission to be extended. African Union peacekeeping mission also, I think, ending this year. What will happen in Somalia in 2025? Is Somalia in a position to be on its feet politically, militarily, etc.? I think Katrina spoke, I think, and when there was tension between Ethiopia and Somalia about MOU issue, and she called for restraint on the part of Somalia. Her comments were not appreciated by Somalia. One of the reasons. Secondly, I think Somalia is now moving towards bilateral arrangements. It does not want involvement of African Union, UN Security Council, IGAD, etc. in its country. It wants to reach bilateral agreements to stabilize Ethiopia, Turkey agreement, maybe Ethiopia, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Egypt. Which countries will gain influence in? I'm talking about Somalia. Excuse me. Somalia is uh, progressing towards bilateral arrangements. It wants bilateral agreements. Somalia, Egypt, Somalia, Eritrea, Somalia, Turkey agreements. It does not want UN, African Union to have influence in Somalia. Question is, which countries will have clout in Somalia after 2024? And how will neighbors react to the influence of new countries in Somalia? That remains to be seen. Somalia made it clear to the UN today that it wants the UN mission to be terminated as soon as possible before the end of its mandate in October this year. Thank you for watching.